Okay, so in the world of AI, things are always moving fast, right? But every now and then, something drops that's a real step change. And today, we're talking about the next big one, GPT-5.
Right, so a new AI is here. But before we get into the what, let's nail down the when. Because to really get how big a deal this is, you gotta know when this all went down.
And there you have it, August 7th, 2025. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky futuristic thing we're talking about. Nope, it's here, it's live, and it's already making its way out into the world. So that leads to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? We know when it launched, we've heard the buzz, but what actually makes this new model different? What sets it apart from all the AI that came before it? Well, to answer that, we've got to pop the hood and see what's really going on. So let's break down what GPT-5 actually is based on what OpenAI has told us.
Okay, so at its heart, GPT-5 is OpenAI's new top-of-the-line model. And it's been specifically built to be a rock star in three key areas: superior coding, deeper reasoning, and the ability to use digital tools.
And you know, it's not just a single model, it's more like a family. You've got the big one, the flagship GPT-5, for all the really heavy, complicated stuff. And then you have its sibling, GPT-5 Mini, which is designed to be way faster and cheaper for the simpler, more everyday tasks.
Now, check this out. This number right here is an absolute game changer. A 400,000 token context window. To put that in perspective, think of it like the AI's working memory. It can now hold and process the amount of information in a very long novel all at once. That's not just an upgrade. That's a whole new level.
And it's not just about text anymore. This thing is multimodal, which is just a fancy way of saying it can see. You can feed it text and images, and it'll understand what's in them. Now, it's important to know, while it can take in pictures, for right now, it only talks back in text.
So we know it's powerful, we know it's got this huge memory, but where does all this new power really come from? Well, it all boils down to three core abilities that have been beefed up so much, they're basically superpowers.
And here they are: advanced coding, deeper reasoning, and what's called agentic work. Let's dive into each one of these and see what's actually new. Okay, superpower number one, advanced coding. And we're not just talking about code that works. This is different. GPT-5 actually has a sense of design, a feel for UI and UX. It gets things like spacing, fonts, and layout, meaning the apps and websites it builds don't just function. They actually look and feel good right out of the box. And I mean, get this. The leap here is so big that some of the first people to use it are talking about creating entire apps, websites, and even simple games with just one single prompt. That's wild. All right, next up, superpower number two, deeper reasoning. The model has this new built-in deliberate thinking mode. So when you throw a really tricky problem at it, something from math or science or finance, it doesn't just jump to an answer. It can actually kind of slow down, think it through step by step, and really work the problem. This helps it avoid those quick, shallow mistakes.
And that brings us to the third superpower, agentic work. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's the ability for the AI to take a big, complex goal you give it, and then figure out all the steps, use whatever tools it needs, and just get the job done, all on its own. It's like having a project manager that can also do all the work.
Okay, so how on earth does it pull all this off? The secret is in the architecture. The whole system has been built from the ground up to be smarter, faster, and yeah, safer too.
A huge part of it is this really clever two-tier system. Here's an easy way to think about it. Imagine you have a super efficient assistant for all your easy day-to-day tasks. But when a really tough problem comes along, that assistant knows to call in a specialist. That's what GPT-5 does. It automatically routes your request to either the fast model or the deep thinking model. So you're always getting the right level of brain power for the job without even thinking about it. And this is a big one. It's designed to be safer. OpenAI is being really upfront about their focus on cutting down on hallucinations. You know, those times when an AI just makes stuff up. They're not claiming it's perfect, but the goal is to make what comes out of the model way, way more reliable and factually accurate. Okay, so the tech is obviously super impressive, but let's bring this back down to earth. What does this actually mean for you, for me? How could we really use this thing in our day-to-day lives? Well, if you're a developer, you could be building and polishing new apps in a tiny fraction of the time it used to take. If you're an analyst, imagine feeding it a gigantic report and asking for a summary, or running complex what-if scenarios in seconds. And really, for anyone who works with information, it's about having a co-pilot that's way more reliable for drafting, reviewing, and just getting those reports done. And that really leaves us with a big final question to chew on. We've just seen how this AI is getting insanely good at the doing part of work, the coding, the analyzing, the executing. So, as these tools get better and better at doing complex tasks, what does that mean for us? What becomes the most important work, the most human work that's left for us to do? Definitely something to think about.